morning, world. What's up? It's early morning here in Kiev, 6:22 a.m. What's up? Gonna put on some background music, so if it's too loud, let me know. If it's clashing with my voice or whatever. How's everyone doing? Welcome to Kiev, Ukraine. This is Jesterboyd, your regular streamer from these parts. Or as someone on Reddit wrote, a random Eastern European on his balcony. Yep, that's me. The sun's about to rise in a little bit, and today I decided to do something differently. Usually I just focus on the sunrise, but today decided to do a bit of an AMA, Ask Me Anything session. So if you guys have any questions, let me know in the chat and I will be happy to answer them. Alright, where's music?
Welcome back to the afternoon shift. As I've told you listeners many times, one of the great joys of my doing this show.
How's everyone doing this evening? Where is everyone joining from?
Artists who I might not have come upon.
How's your year so far?
In studio with aforementioned wax tailor. Comment allez-vous?
Oh, there we go. I missed a bunch of comments. Hello, sorted elephant. It's going, been better, but we're not giving up. Still here, still fighting. Hello, mental bus. How am I doing personally? Fort Walton Bleach. How am I doing personally? I'd say I'm doing okay. I'm doing much better than, say, this autumn or the beginning of winter. Whenever I have like a purpose, whenever I have a clear goal in mind, even if it's connected to something negative, I always feel driven and motivated. So right now is one of those periods when I'm driven and motivated, and this time the motivation comes from the invasion that happened in Ukraine. So I would like to talk about that as well, if anyone's got any questions. Are you guys really under attack where like the whole country is going to be taken, or is our news lying? We've been under attack for 8 years now, and 2 years on RPAN I've been telling to anyone who would listen about the danger that the Russian Federation poses not just to Ukraine but to the whole civilized world. And those who follow me from the start know about this. That I always was vocal in my criticism of Putin, the Russian government, and the Russian people. I never separate those things. I know it's gonna be an unpopular opinion, but whatever. I think as a Ukrainian, I am more entitled to my opinion than whatever like humanitarian bullshit you have in your head. So yeah, thank you for the all-seeing upvote. Fort Walton Bleach. So this is nothing new for me, nothing new for Ukrainians, and it was a something that we've been expecting, and the country has been getting ready for, and the military is quite ready, and the first line reserve are getting called right now as we speak. Ukraine is a country that can't allow, just to draft all the able-bodied men and send them to the fields, because it's gonna crash the economy. But right now, now that we're seeing a huge influx of Russian troops in east of Ukraine, obviously there's gonna be a big there's gonna be a response from Ukrainian side, of course, to that. Why they so angry, playa? Because life sucks. Just for an average Russian, life is hell, basically. There's it's a very poor country. Besides a couple of huge megapolises, everything else just is absolutely depressing. Nowhere near the level of Ukraine. Ukrainian minimum wages are higher than in Russia right now. If you don't count Moscow as Russia, as many do, because Moscow is a completely sort of in a different league, let's just say, than the rest of Russia, then Ukraine has higher medium wages as well. So Ukraine is doing good progress in terms of democracy, freedom, and economic stability, and the Russians, and specifically the Russian government, sees that as a threat to their regime, because if the Russian people see see Putin for what he is, the incapable, poor politician, poor economist, then it's gonna crash and he's gonna get replaced, and he's very much afraid of that. And I think that's what drives him first and foremost, not as much the illusions of grandeur, the desire to build an empire, although those are also a factor, but first and foremost is, of course, saving his own skin. And as I've said before, the only force on this planet, unfortunately, let's be realistic. I mean, two forces, all right. Two forces that can dispose of Putin are time. Here, hopefully the chat is still working. Sorry, I'm gonna catch up with the comments shortly, but I was gonna say that it's great that we can talk like this over the oceans, because it allows us all to share, a common understanding of things. And in this day and age, when there are so many players trying to muddy the waters, trying to exploit us, tell us what's right, what's wrong, I think it's important to keep to each other and to build these sort of grassroots communities where we can learn from each other, we can support each other, and we can figure out what's what. Reddit maybe is not a perfect platform for this, because of course it encourages this sort of a bubble situation where everyone's in their own bubble. But for me, streaming specifically provides this sort of experience where you encounter people that you would not otherwise encounter. It's sort of like, when you're riding with random strangers on a train, and sometimes a lot of you never come back, but these little interactions are very cool. All right, comments. Thank you for all the awards. It's a boy, the one gave helpful. Thank you. You look like Theo von Brother. I have no idea who that is, but thank you. I hope he's good. Asmodeus, thank you for silver. American satellites equipped with powerful laser weapons are monitoring Russian and Ukrainian skies. if Russia attempts to wipe out Kiev. You spelled Kiev wrong. With nukes, I guess. America will destroy Moscow at the speed of light. Okay, well, Kyiv is spelled K-Y-I-V because it's a Ukrainian name. Please don't use Russian transliteration of a Ukrainian city name. You know how it is. All the major news outlets, including, I don't know, Washington Post, New York Times, etc., all spell it Kyiv. So it's easy. K-Y-I-V. And it's read Kyiv. Kyiv. My prayers are with you. Thank you for the prayers. I'm not gonna like direct this at you, but I'm gonna say it in general, you know, as someone who's going through like a tough period in their life, and I can relate to many other people who are going through even tougher things. It's okay, so thoughts and prayers sounds good the first time, okay the second time, really beat up the third time, and starting at around fourth time you hear it, and down to 100 times that you hear thoughts and prayers, or the variation of this phrase, it loses all sense and it starts to mean something completely the opposite from what you were trying to say. But I know that you mean well, but it's really hard sometimes to control your own perception of things. And many people put this thoughts and prayers as sort of a like an excuse. Okay, thoughts and prayers. I did all I could. I said thoughts and prayers. I'll now go pray to Jesus. And Jesus like there, oh my God, Ukraine again, so many prayers. I can't. You know. What do you think will happen? Nobody knows. But Ukrainians are gonna fight till our last breath. That's my plan, at least. Tak says, dude, my country is supporting Russia. Oh, Brazil. If that happens, I'm traveling to be a rebel or anything else to help Ukraine. At least, how can Brazil support Russia? This is so retarded. There is a Ukrainian-speaking province in Brazil. There's literally, like, I think it's like the third or... Yeah, I think it's the third largest population of Ukrainians outside of Ukraine, the US, and Canada. In Brazil, huge diaspora, huge Ukrainian diaspora. Delusions of grandeur, the three words that explain mania. Well, have you seen the guy? Okay, well, just watch. I've watched. It was hard because I get, you know, like the vomit reflex when I watch Putin, but I bit the bullet, so to speak, and I watched that whole speech without puking, without vomiting. He's really deranged. Like, you can see that we hurt him. One thing though is I know a salty boy when I see one, and that boy was salty. I know that for him, like, the fuck you that he got from Ukrainians felt really personal, and that's why I know we're on the right track. And I've seen our ex-president that we kicked out in 2014, you know, get as salty. And that means that it's, you know, we're getting to them. We're getting closer to the end. Because when they're salty, when they're angry, when you can see their emotions show, it's when they start making mistakes. Unfortunately, in this case, we have a case of a guy who has access to nuclear weapons and can make mistakes. But what can you do? Mamizila, thank you for the gold. Thank you. Appreciate it. What was the second thing? I'm sorry, sometimes I jump from topic to topic, so oh, time and Russian thought. Am I Ukrainian? Yes, born and raised. I am from Kiev, from the capital. And you might have seen me stream previously my sunrises from this very balcony. I don't like to do these talks often because I feel like, so I stream on RPAN regularly, but I never envisioned myself as a streamer. I don't like calling myself a streamer, and it's just something that happened to me organically. And I'm not like trying to build, myself as my own brand, not trying to like do that. Even though I got my own merch and stuff. My main focus always was, and what I always like centered my streams around, was Ukraine. There's always a Ukrainian flag in emoji in all of my streams. I always list that it's Kyiv, Ukraine, and that's the brands that I'm really interested in growing. Kyiv, Ukraine. And, well, Ukraine in general, not just Kyiv. Kyiv is a great city, but, Ukraine has so much more to offer than the capital. So yeah, it's totally not a perfect platform, but it may be the best one we have right now, other than the hub. Yeah, maybe Pornhub is my next step. Brazilian president pretends he is on the side of Russia, but he's more afraid of USA sanctions than anything that would kill our economies. Didn't you guys have a woman for a president, or did she go to prison already? I kind of missed that. It just goes to show how hard it is, guys, like, to keep up with each other's events. See, I don't know who is a president in Brazil, and I immediately feel ashamed, because here I am talking about how it is important for you guys to keep in mind Ukraine, but I don't follow all the news, and that's totally normal. There's this thing called Dunbar's number. It's basically a theory that all of us, like, as primates, basically as apes, have the mental capacity to feel empathy to a certain number of, representatives of our species. And this number fluctuates depending on the complexity of the animal. So for animals that live in smaller groups, it's like 10 or something, and for people, they said it's around 50 or something like that. I don't remember the exact numbers, but the fact is there's a hard limit towards the number of people we can feel empathetic towards. And I feel that's a bit of a problem in our world, because we're trying, like, all our spirituality, religions are all built around being like good and virtuous, etc. But at the same time, our monkey brains are not fully, like, formed to do that. So I often remind myself about this Dunbar's number and how it comes into play. I think this connectivity that we get from the world, from internet right now, from the technologies, I think at a certain point, we will be able to defeat this limitation. I think without it, we're kind of doomed. Like, no matter how hard we try, no matter how we progress forward, it seems like we have, like, all these awesome tools right now, and we're just bashing each other upside the head with these tools, Like, just think about the internet and how we're using it to divide ourselves instead of uniting. And so hopefully, this stream is all about uniting. And soon it's gonna be a sunrise, it's gonna be pretty. I'm sorry this is happening. Oh, and thank you for the platinum, your best year. Thank you, I really appreciate it. But guys, and gals, don't waste your bucks on Reddit currency, please. I have a Cash App, and it would mean a world to me if you were to support my streams, because streaming regularly, it's like, for now, it's my main occupation. I myself am a freelance film producer. I produce commercials, music videos, stuff like that. But for now, with COVID and the threat of war and everything, I'm kind of free, and I'm dedicating, like, all of my time basically to Reddit. I also moderate currently the r/Ukraine community. So if you want to stay more in the know, more factual. Today we're not talking facts. We're just talking like people. We're talking feelings and emotions. But if you want to be factually correct, we keep a pretty tight ship on that sub, and we allow, different opinions there, obviously, but we try to eradicate all the falsehoods. So r/Ukraine, not Ukrainian, Ukraine is our sub. It's growing quickly, and it takes a lot of time. Right now, with all the attention, it takes a lot of time to moderate it. So spending lots of time, talking about Ukraine, showing Ukraine as it is. And if you wanna see more what I do, just check out my profile, check out the pinned posts, sort by top posts. There's a lot of cool combat footage that I post from the war. So yeah, Cash App, $Jesterboyd, really much appreciated. PayPal, piggy16@gmail.com. All the details are in my link tree that you can find, and also in the recent post that I posted. I thought you were Ashton Kutcher. If I had a cent for every time I heard Ashton Kutcher, I would have a lot of sense. But thank you. Go make t-shirts, bro. I have t-shirts. I have t-shirts. My t-shirts are 49 a pop, and they're really cool. The artwork is done by my friend and also half Ukrainian, half Zimbabwean artist from South Africa, Cinnamon Rose. Really cool artwork, and yeah. I met a fantastic Ukrainian in Brazil. He made me support Dynamo Kiev. I also hate him because he is absolutely crazy. Yeah, that sounds pretty Ukrainian to me. Thank you for the helpful Coyote. What's the cultural equivalent to the independent states in Donbass for us US folks? What's the cultural equivalent to the independent states in Donbass? I'm trying to figure out what you mean by that cultural equivalent. Imagine if you chase out the majority of people who want to work and leave people who are all about welfare state, about sort of aggressive redneckish types, and that's your cultural equivalent. But there are some pro-Ukrainian people there still left. It's always very unfair to just give people like a characteristic like I just did, because you always end up like cramming good people with the bad people, and there are still good people there left. People who have nowhere to run, people who chose to stay. So yeah, and so many people fled, and I was like heartbroken yesterday reading all the posts on Facebook from people who left, who had to leave their homes behind in Donbass and Luhansk areas, and with Putin signing this like recognition, for them it was like he was signing a death sentence, because they were never to see their homes again. That's how they perceive this. And for me, the fact that they would inflict such suffering on people, completely invalidates them as human beings. So if Putin, if his supporters, think it's the right way to treat, I don't care, minority, majority, how many, even if it's a single person, then war it is. How long do you think an American would last before they're called out for bad pronunciation? More power to you. Thank you, Worm Ad. What's the thing that worries you the most? The thing that worries me the most. Good question. I'm a bit worried you guys are gonna have a civil war in the US and then the whole world is gonna go to shit. That would be worrisome, but I can't say it worries me the most. What worries me the most is having to see, you know. Hold on, I'll show you what worries me the most. What worries me the most is having to see everything I love, everything that surrounds me, that's so beautiful, and that has raised me, that's brought me up, and that shaped me as who I am, see this destroyed before my eyes because some midget freak decided that he's gonna play emperor or whatever his sick fantasy is. That would worry me the most, and I know in my deep in my heart that I would happily die to prevent that from happening. Thank you for being so honest. Thank you for being here and listening to me. Holy shit, I'm top page for such a long time and you're still here and I'm so behind, 10 minutes behind comments. Okay, I'll try to pick it up. Handsome devil, thank you. Particular. Delmer, what is your biggest... Okay, I answered this one. If a war happens, I would love to go there help, but Bolsonaro will support Russia. Well, Ukrainian military accepts foreigners. If you want to help, start studying Ukrainian or Russian and DM me. I'll send you the whole process. I mean, it's not gonna be easy. You'll have to spend at least 3 months in Ukraine, living in Ukraine while they do security checks on you. But there are foreigners serving in Ukrainian military, and after you serve your 3-year contract, you get a citizenship. So it's nice. Haha, that's true. It's like America with gun violence. Nothing but thoughts and prayers. Frustrating. Exactly. It's not frustrating the first time you hear it, but when it has to do with something that's for you is painful and you hear it from like dozens of people, it starts to get on your nerves. So try to avoid that. Try to like if I were to recommend, like, instead of thoughts and prayers, either say nothing or say like, how can I help? That's. And speaking of ways to help, if by chance out of 16,000 people watching, we have a web designer and a designer willing to help me put up a very simple, like, couple of pages website, I would be super thankful, because I'm trying to up my game with streaming right now. And this is, wow, this is gonna be my 3rd summer, coming up on a 3rd summer here on RPAN, and I want to make the most of it. I want to make it count. I love to longboard. I love to explore different cultural venues, concerts, parties, stuff like that. I hope to soon go hang out at the St. Patrick's party coming up. Can't wait. One of my favorite days in the year, St. Patrick's, because my favorite friend's band always performs. Anyways, I got carried away. Sorry about the rants. Hope it's not too frustrating. Thank you for existing, and thank you for sharing your experience with the world. Thank you, Slytherin. I appreciate you being a great audience. I never get tired to say that my streams are only as good as the audience on them, and you tonight are a surprisingly great audience. Maybe I'm just so behind that the moderators already cleaned up all the trolls, but I'm not seeing trolls, which is like refreshing. Oh, it's the time zone, right? All the trolls are still sleeping or going to work in Olgino in their little crummy cubicles in St. Petersburg. If you fight to your last breath, I'll offer all my asthma meds. Yeah. Send nudes, as I like to say. How's your food situation? Well, it's 3.6 Rankin. Not great, not terrible. I'm putting together a bug out backpack, and it's one of the things that I'm actively fundraising towards right now. Is a bug out backpack for the worst case scenario, because I'll show you again. So this is the view outside my window. As you can see, the sun is rising in the east. What is also in the east? The beautiful neighbor. And that's just about 2.5 hours drive down the highway over there that you can see the cars moving on. So my apartment is right on the edge, and if shit hits the fan, and if Putin decides to invade the city that I live in, then I'll need to GTFO as fast as possible, and more specifically, I need to make sure that my family, my loved ones, are safe. After which, I'm either going to join the armed forces or other forms of resistance, depending on the situation. I can't tell you more details for obvious reasons. But if you want to support this bug out backpack, which is gonna include a radio, the sleeping bag, the tent, the water purification filters, the cooking utensils, all the good stuff. This is just phase 1 of my plan. But first I need to close all the necessary things, and then we will, together with my friends and followers, we will move on to better, greater things and start thinking about a drone and other fun little toys that can be utilized to defend people I love and places I love. So yeah, Cash App Jesterboyd to make that happen. Thank you, guys and gals, by the way. Thank you. I appreciate all the support. Stay strong, brothers and sisters in Ukraine. I'm rooting for you all and your safety. Thank you, Business Parfait. Gudgebert, I love how the whole world has pretty much rallied behind Ukraine. That is indeed very heartwarming, and it means a lot to me. And I don't say this with a light heart. I feel a little bit guilty that my streams are hitting top page every time I stream right now, because I would of course like to be so entertaining and great that people would watch me just on their own. But I know, I mean, people have been watching me, and I have been on front pages before. It was just always challenging, and these days people are very interested in what's going on in Ukraine. But this has been going on for 8 years, so whenever you point your ray of attention so intently at me, I get spooked, because I'm like, but this has been going on for 8 years. We never went away anywhere. There always been war. People have been dying almost every day. Where have you been all this time? So yeah, goes to show, back to that conversation that we had previously about the attention span. Things to keep in mind. It's gonna be beautiful sunrise in a little bit, so I'm just gonna turn it around like this. How close am I to the border? 2.5 hours drive, just like I said. Are things different depending on areas? Of course, yes. Ukraine is the largest country fully located in Europe, so the variety of locations that we have here is significant. No two areas are similar. We have different dialects, different cultures, different traditions. Yeah, Totally agree, blah blah blah. The people of the US are behind you. I only wish our government would do more. He must be stopped. Brazil still needs oil. Yeah, I have Ukrainian friends, dude. The problem is getting out of Brazil without intent. Please don't use the R word. Did I say the R word? I try not to. If I did, I apologize. I usually don't. Yeah, this guy's using the R word. Did I? Well, I usually don't, so now I feel like I'm probably didn't. Mamizila, thank you for the gold again. Okay, lots of trolls. Here we go. World War III about to start and people are complaining about... Do you think LeBron will win another championship? I am honestly not a basketball guy, so I don't know. He's working his propaganda narrative for his people. He's not doing this show for anyone else. You're talking to me, bro. You're saying I'm doing a propaganda. What do you mean? I don't get paid for this. I would love to be doing propaganda. So if you have any, I don't know, maybe connections in the CIA, tell them I need sponsorship. I'll fucking shill for them any day. Because it would be easier than whatever I'm doing. But thank you, Gajbert. We appreciate your opinion. Coyote 32. Didn't Russia save Ukraine from Hitler? That's an interesting take. So Ukraine suffered more casualties in World War II than Russia. Ukraine and Belarus. It's almost as if the Russian command specifically used Ukrainians and Belarusians as cannon fodder to kill off a big chunk of people that they haven't killed off before during 1932-1933 Holodomor, when they targeted Ukrainians and starved us out. So the Ukraine is weak. Ukraine is not weak. Ukraine is joke to you. I smash. It's all fun and games streaming until Katyusha rocket are raining down in your city. Yeah, but I mean, look who's talking. El Pulucho, who never was within like a shooting distance of a grad system. So at least the danger exists for me, not for you. Do I want President Biden to send American troops? We got this, boys. We don't need American troops on the ground in Ukraine. What we need is American pilots in the sky, locking down the air. If we have the air superiority, then it's all good. Just give us the sky. I look forward to when this is all over and you can take us on another walk to show us all of the destroyed Russian military hardware. Yeah, that would be awesome. I remember it's actually 8 years ago, somewhere on these days, 21st, 22nd of February, I came to the center and there was no riot police. The president fled, and it was like a fairy tale. All the forces of evil were gone, but it was a very short-lived victory, and then we had to face the invasion in Crimea. But for a moment, it was like being in a fairy tale, and when the villain just disappears into thin air, that's how it felt. And I know that with this enemy it's gonna feel this way at some point as well. Look, when the Soviet Union fell apart, I was 7, and I don't remember much, but I remember turning on TV, and instead of the usual programs, there was the ballet on every channel. And the next day there was no Soviet Union, and Soviet Union at the time was perceived to be indestructible, etc. So I know, just like Soviet Union disappeared once, the Russian Federation will cease to exist eventually as well. And we're all gonna be really amazed to see it. But it is going to be a great stream. Which part of Ukraine are you from? Stay safe, man. Thank you, Dispaler. I'm from north central part, from the city of Kiev, which is the capital of Ukraine, the city of rich and ancient history, 1,500 years old, almost 1,000 years older than Moscow. So it's always funny to me when Putin brings up these ridiculous claims that he's got, I don't know, whoever writes his history books, maybe he writes his own history books or whatever, when Moscow claims that they are somehow, related to Ukrainians, or that Ukrainians are somehow Russian people or whatever, But the name Ukraine was mentioned before the name Russia was ever conceived. There was Ukraine and Muscovy Kingdom on the maps. So, don't get me started. Yes, you are authentic as fuck, so you are the guy. Thank you for Walton Bleach. I'm glad that you're enjoying this. Show us your sweater. I'm not in a sweater. Hold on. I'm in a onesie. It's a pajama. This is my special attire for these talks. Whenever I do balcony talks, I wear the pajama. So, yeah. Molecular thunderstruck. Alright. It's Ukraine, not the Ukraine. Absolutely correct. Is there something we, your viewers, can do? Thank you for the great question. Well, first of all, check out my most recent post. I just posted about like my plans and what I'm gonna do, and I specifically addressed this issue there. But to give you an idea of what I wrote there, what simple people could and should do is this. First of all, there's a link. There's a list of donations of charities. I mean, that we put up on our subreddit on our Ukraine. It is a verified list that has been checked by journalists of Kiev Post newspaper, so it's the most legit list. Many of these charities I have supported myself, and the top one, Save Life in UA, is probably the most reliable of those. That's number one if you have the money to spare. Number two, if you have a congressman or a representative or someone in the parliament who represents your, democratical values, etc., you can write to them. It's better to write in paper and send by mail instead of sending in email. People usually send emails, and thank you for all the platinums, guys. Please stop with all the awards. If you want to have more impact, send it via mail, a written mail, where you ask your representatives to put more pressure through economic sanctions on Russia and diplomatic pressure, and to supply Ukraine with additional defensive and lethal aid, including anti-air capabilities such as Patriot missiles and possibly planes. we are severely lacking in terms of anti-air defense, and the Air Force, our ground capabilities are very substantial, and I have utter confidence in Ukrainian armed forces on the ground. But let's face it, our Air Force is very small, and it doesn't stand a chance against a much larger Russian fleet. And at first, they're going to attempt to soften up the Ukrainian defenses with very aggressive and massive barrage of missiles. So anything that helps us counter that would be very much useful. One thing to note here that I'm really sad about is that currently Israel is blocking the purchase of Iron Dome systems by Ukraine, and that would really help us out if we could, use the Israeli technologies to save lives, because they have the radar technologies that are able to pick up the small flying projectiles, and then they have the rockets able to shoot them down. For now, though, Israel is in cahoots with Russia. Unfortunately, not in cahoots. I understand why they are sort of friendly with Russia, but it's time for that to end, I think. So, sorry for the long rant. So yeah, there's that. Writing to the senator. What else you can do? And you can also support people creating content, doing things in Ukraine, just low-level people like me, because believe it or not, but the economical effects of the siege that we find ourselves under, hurts us. Oh my God, Scooby, thank you for the Argentium, but you really shouldn't have. I really appreciate it, guys. This means a lot. Thanks, man. But yeah, the economy hurts the little guy the most. And so creators on RPAN, even I know a few people, specifically there's one artist from Kiev who could also use some love from you and me as well. So check out my pinned post, check out what I post here on Reddit, and there are ways to help via Cash App, via other platforms. Did you sleep last night? I have, yeah. I'm living on a sort of a vampire schedule right now, so mostly slept during the day. What is the general consensus amongst the average citizens of Ukraine in regards to your current situation? That's such a general question. That's the general consensus amongst the average citizen of Ukraine in regards to our current situation is that the current situation is fubar, fucked up beyond any recognition. It's a shitty situation we find ourselves in. Where's the merch? The merch is okay, so there's a bio, there's a Linktree link in the bio. It says, the bio says, words are the source of misunderstanding, and below it is the link. You click on the link and it opens to a number of other links. Among those, there is a link to the merch. But I basically do direct sales. I don't have. That's why I'm looking for someone who could help me with the website, because I would like to set up a small shop, and I don't want to use any intermediaries. So yeah. Thank you for the respect, Delmertin. Hey you, Malkia Kadzo. By the way, any Japanese people in the chat, let me know. I keep forgetting about it, but it's actually a big deal. So I'm gonna share a cool news with you guys. I was recently approached by someone on Reddit who wanted my permission to use one of my streams on public network TV channel in Japan, NHK. and I gave the permission, and apparently my stream was featured at 10 p.m. in some program where they learn English. And I was very, very curious to see if there would be any Japanese people joining who might have seen that program, but so far I haven't heard from any. But that was really cool, because my regulars know that I live right next to Kyoto Park, and Kyoto and Kiev are the sister cities. She suffered a coup. Oh, that's the president. Okay, yeah, I remember something along those lines. What time is it where you at? Let's see. It's 7:13 a.m. in Kiev, Ukraine. Can you please explain how you and some people feel about the people who are pro-Russian separatists? Me and Mom had a conversation about this recently, because we watched the videos where they put them on the buses and evacuated them to Russia, like to live in school gyms. And then in Russia, nobody was ready to accept them, and people were like cold in the buses and going. And it's kind of the case where I think I feel overwhelming pity for the people, because they were lied to and cheated and used as pawns by someone who doesn't care for them. The sad irony of this whole claim that Putin has, that he's protecting the Russian-speaking population, is that it's the Russian-speaking population of Ukraine that is suffering the most from Putin's actions, you know? He's hurting his own people, and it's only in words this protection exists. In reality, they are getting hurt. The majority of Ukrainian armed forces, the majority of men fighting in the Ukrainian armed forces, I don't know, maybe 55-60%, probably speak Russian as well. So that claim is just so ridiculous to me always. So yeah, pity, but also I know that if those people were to get their way with me, then I would be dead. So pity, but also they are the enemy. The woman who was Brazilian president suffered a coup. Yep, Bolsonaro. Okay. When you join NATO, when Ukrainian military has fulfilled all the obligations, all the parameters, etc., then we join the NATO. Are you doctor? No, I am a producer. Digging your humility. Thank you, sweet D55. I appreciate it. Talk about Donbass. Explain to us why they are the way they are. It's an industrial region with lots of working people whose industries were slowly falling out of well, not favor, but how do you call it? And not fashion. Slowly becoming obsolete, let's just say, first of all. And second of all, after the collapse of Soviet Union, Ukrainian heavy industries were sort of cannibalized by very opportunistic people who later became oligarchs. And these oligarchs didn't care much about people and mostly cared about profits, making quick profits, making quick returns. And so people and the industries themselves were destroyed and like degraded, basically. And for years those people felt sidelined, once again cheated by the central government, etc. If we were to search for parallels, I would say that the situation in Donbass is similar to the situation that the British had in the 80s with the miners as well. But here we have a proximity, just a geographical proximity to Russia. Lots of heavy industries were tied by economical ties to Russia, like the majority of their clients were Russian, etc., etc. So when the talks of association with Europe and European markets started, those people, they have a very strong reactionary vibe to them because they are the way they are. They don't react well to anything new, and they don't want to change. And that's why they saw Russia as more of a convenient partner than European Union, because it was something that they knew their whole lives. And for the European Union, you would have to adjust, you would have to reform, you would have to adopt leaner production methods, you would have to modernize, etc., etc., etc. While with Russia, you can just, keep drinking vodka and nobody will care. So it's sad, but that's true. Do I want assimilation into Russia or stay independent? I hope by the time 37 minutes ago. Yeah, I hope by this time you know what my answer is. How's my cat doing? It's sleeping somewhere, but she's doing good. She's not scratching anymore. It looks like I've managed to deflee her successfully, so. Since you only want to respond to stupid cash questions, have you any access to bulletproof vest? Who's asking? It's like humans are evolving from a pack to a hive. I like your thought. Yes. Perhaps it is time we evolved to a hive, but also I find it scary to have to lose one's identity, in a hive. So. Toasty Marsh AG, thank you for the helpful. Biologist turned anthropologist, writer of The Naked Ape. Yeah. I remember that guy. For the heartwarming, thank you, Slytherin Aspie. Boom, boom, boom. Greetings from Kyiv. Oh, someone else from Kyiv. Nice. Thank you, helpful 875. Oh, speaking of cat. Let's go. Look at the cat. Cat. Cat is gone. It's my flowers. Scooby, thank you for another platinum. Really shouldn't have. Alright, well, numbers are dropping. I'm super behind comments, so I'm gonna just real quick try and find. Yep, here comes the plug. Yes, you got me. I'm doing it all for the monies. Didn't you know? Have you thought about making a film about the current climate in Ukraine? It's funny how you phrase this. Have you thought about making a film about the climate? And you don't make films about the climate. You make films about stories, about heroes. And I've been thinking about producing a documentary for a while now. And I even have a guy that I would really like to make a documentary about. But it's not that simple, especially when you're talking about war documentaries and people who've been in war and who've been through heavy experiences such as this. So yes, the answer to your question is yes. I've been thinking and I've been working on it, but breaking through from the commercial production that I worked in to documentary production that I never had any experience in is kind of tough. But eventually I'll do it. For a second thought this was Tobey Maguire. What's the military situation in eastern Ukraine right now? Well, Russia has moved in their armed forces en masse. So if before they were sort of hiding their presence, now they're not hiding anymore. Yesterday alone, 2 Ukrainian service members were killed during a shelling by the Russian separatist forces. Yeah, it's gonna get tricky because as far as I know, the Ukrainian command issued an order not to open fire in return for now, unless there's like a direct risk of risk to life or losing position. Then of course they can return fire, but otherwise they're not allowed to suppress the enemy positions, and we're being shelled for these past few days. The situation has really escalated, and they're using the weapon systems that are prohibited by Minsk agreements that they basically killed with the recognition of these republics, so-called republics. So yeah, next several weeks are gonna be very kinetic, very dramatic. So I'll try to update if anything significant goes down. Am I a vampire or crane? More of a vampire. Thank you, Krusty Sean, for the silver. Rooney, Stepmom, thank you for the hugs. Canal Benel, nice username, I like it. Thank you for the helpful. This would be like Russia trying to take back Alaska. Canned anxiety. Thank you for the wholesome. Cheek neat silver, thank you. Okay. Why is Ukraine not able to join NATO? Well, there are prerequisites to joining NATO. NATO, like they have their own interfaces, their own weapon systems, their own many prerequisites need to be met before we can join. Basically, before we will, our militaries need to be compatible in order for Ukraine to join, and because Ukraine, for the longest time, it was under the Soviet control. Ukrainian armed forces were trained to fight under Soviet fighting doctrine, and everything changes with the NATO standards. So we need to basically to readjust to new reality. Get satellite internet if you can, so you can have internet without infrastructure. Love from US. Build Major, thank you for the advice. It would be probably very expensive and something that would be out of my reach. But I mean, I'd love to have internet wherever I go. But also, if things really deteriorate, I don't think I'm gonna be posting much stuff, just because I wouldn't want to reveal anything that shouldn't be revealed. For example, if I were to, if the city was getting shelled and I were to post the photos of the craters, that information could be used to adjust the shelling. Oh no, someone is here and I don't see her questions. Hello, Alishka. I'm sorry, so many comments here. I'm 37 minutes behind all the comments, so it's even impossible for me to ever catch up with them. I'm just gonna go to the end of this. I hope I said something that was useful to you guys anyways, because I'm so behind the comments. Should I start learning Ukrainian language to preserve history and or talk Ukrainian immigrants natives? Sure, yes, do that. And we're working on how to make it even more accessible maybe some TikToks coming soon that would help people who want to preserve the culture and the language, or want to reconnect to their roots. Where are you? Want to bigger, better things? What's your favorite thing about being Ukrainian? Almost what's going on there. Am I? Alright, well, looks like it's back. Okay, thank God. Yes. What's my favorite thing about being a Ukrainian? I always felt special being a Ukrainian, and I don't know how, like, it started, like, when, well, maybe not always, but first time was probably sophomore year when I was in the US, and when the kids were, like, asking where I was from, and it was the first time I had a sort of an identity crisis, you know, because, well, you know how kids are in school, like, you want to be cool, you want to be better than your peers or whatever, and the Americans would have so many things they could be proud of, and I at that time was like, well, what do I say, like, I thought that the Soviet Union was that, you know, the time to be proud of. But then I figured out, like, well, okay, well, they don't know nothing about Ukraine, okay? So anything that I come up with, like, they know some things about the USSR, like, I could tell them, I don't know, whatever, the stereotypes. But about Ukraine, they knew absolutely nothing. And that's why when I understood that no matter what I told them, it would be absolute truth to them. I felt special at the time, and ever since I understood that Ukraine has a special place in the grand scheme of things, because it's like the frontier, it's like the final frontier, it's where the West clashes with the East, it's where, you know, democracy and tyranny clash, it's where socialism and capitalism clash, and it's on this sort of rift in between that we're born, and that's why I like it so much. What province do you live in? I live in Kiev, it's the capital. Oh my god, an identity crisis. Yes, well, how do you figure out who you are? When do you understand, oh, I'm the citizen of US and this means this and this? I first thought about that in the US because in here in school, for example, we don't recite the Pledge of Allegiance, and the idea of, like, statehood did not occur to me as clearly as it did in the US before. I mean, worked with Ukrainian programmers at a job once. They always were hardworking and the first to buy after work drinks. See, we're nice people. Are the Russia-Ukraine tensions as bad as the American media portrays it to be? I'd say they're kind of worse than that, because American media portrays it to be like it's just happened out of nowhere, but we've been living in this reality for 8 years, so yeah, doesn't feel like it's not as bad. Oh, I lagged while I was answering? Did I lag? No, Olechka. Has Ukraine had to mobilize heavy weapons or only small arms? No, everything is mobilized. It's just that the heavy weapons are pulled back from the front line. They're not being currently utilized. Okay. What else did I miss? Love the PJs. Thank you, Backflip. Slav from down under, happy that you are here. Plug your Cash App again, people have been asking. It's Jesterboyd. And I think at this point, what is it, like 8 a.m.? I need to go get myself a breakfast and some coffee, and my throat is really, really sore because none of you were hydro homies. Nobody told me to hydrate. So there's my totally shameless Cash App plug. If you want my PayPal or my Bitcoin wallet, DM me, I'll DM it to you back. Or check my recent post, there's information in there as well. And yes, I will feed the cat as well. And get some sleep. And hopefully you get some sleep too. So thank you very much all for coming. Happy to see new faces, happy to see the regulars. Slav from down under, Backflip Tornado. Thank you all the regulars. Love you all so much and hope to see you again. I'll keep streaming, keep showing you life the way it is. And yeah, let's hope for peace. Bye.